Hey there. Hi, this is Brian and Christina from Your Healthy Steps, where we teach foam rolling and self-care skills so you could be active, pain-free, and do the things you love to do.
Get out there and do your thing, the things you love.
Yeah. So if you've ever experienced pain in your upper chest or on your arms, and it was this unexplained pain, you didn't know why it was there, where it came from, then this video could be very, very helpful for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're continuing our discussion of the pec muscle, and what I'll do is I'll put a link above in here so you can check it out, because this muscle affects us in many ways. Posture, right? Yep. Breathing, and arm movements. Yep. And today we're going to discuss the pains that this muscle can cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we are not medical doctors. We are massage therapists, right? We've been practicing for 15 years, and we're giving you the background that we know of when we're working on our clients that we share with them too. So we're not diagnosing, treating, or prescribing. Okay, you ready to talk pec major?
Let's do it. Okay, so really the pec major, or pectoralis major, is the known as the pecs. It's really our chest, and it's located in the front of our body on both sides. And this, we're going to do a quick overview of this. It really has three pretty distinct runs, if you will. It has a upper, middle, and what we call a lower, and they all come together in the arm. So they go from the clavicle down the sternum, into the ribs, and then up to our upper arm. So it's a big area. And what's interesting here, well, let me just step back. It is a very important muscle for posture, because it causes us to do this. Breathing, it can impact our breathing, and in athletics, it's an important muscle because it's one of the largest and most powerful of the upper body.
Right.
Okay.
So we want it to be healthy.
We want this thing to be healthy, and unfortunately, a lot of people, it's really, really tight because of just habits. Which we talked about last time. So what we want to talk about today is the pain patterns that can develop out of these muscles, because all muscles have the potential to develop hyper-irritated points, and those hyper-irritated points become what are called trigger points. And all a trigger point is a hyper-irritated point that is sending pain out somewhere else because it has become so irritated. And that's why it's very difficult sometimes to diagnose it, because people are thinking, I got this going on, I got this going on. And this particular muscle can really cause a little bit of concern. So we're going to talk about that. So let's get right into it. So we have the upper fibers here, right up here, the red area. And this muscle is also kind of unique because it's divided into 5 areas that have its own distinct trigger points and their own distinct pain patterns. So this first section has 2 right up here. So this is really along the clavicle, kind of drops off the clavicle and goes into your arm. It's really, it's really this area right there. And what's unique here is that this pain tends to stay right in that area. So if I take my hand and put it on the front of Christina's upper arm, sorry about that, I should have turned that off. And this upper part of the chest, this is where you're going to find that pain. It pretty much stays right in this area. So those 2 trigger points kind of keep that pain right there. Then we have the middle fibers, which are this section right here. I apologize for the phone. And this actually has 5 trigger points. 5. This is not a big area. I mean, it's a big muscle, but that's it. So it has 5. We're going to talk 3 right off the bat. They're 1, 2, and 3. They're kind of right on a line, almost fairly close to the arm. And what's unique with this pain pattern is that this actually can have pain in the chest area, and it can drop down inside of your arm, right pretty heavily here in the inside portion of your forearm, down into the palm of your hands, and these last 3 fingers of your hand. So these trigger points, these 3 trigger points, can send pain anywhere in the chest area, down the inside of your arm, all the way down here to your forearm and into your palm. So any one of these areas, or all of them, you can get pain there. So that's just the center part of this muscle. And then there are 2 more pain trigger points, and they're more toward the center, more toward the sternum, and they're right here. And these 2 really keep the pain right near the sternum, so right dead center of your chest. Because we have it on both sides, so we could have one side. So if I put my hand like right here, this is where you could typically feel it, right off the bone, and maybe about a 1/2 inch off the bone. That's where the pain will radiate. Okay, so that's 5 in just that area. And then that lower section, right down here in the green, it has 2. And it's, oops, it has 2, but it's also more toward the armpit. And when we work on this, we actually have people's arms out, and we're working this area where it comes up into this whole area right here. This is where we get in and work. That's where the trigger points are. And that pain actually stays mid-chest, right, pretty much where the nipple is, around that area and just below it, into the armpit. So you can actually have pain in the armpit from these 2 trigger points. And then finally, there's one trigger point down on the lower fibers. And I don't want to keep grabbing that one here. We're going to right down in here. And what's important about this one is that it is actually called, in our medical manuals that we got for our training, it is called the cardiac arrhythmia trigger point. So this trigger point mimics a heart attack. Now, if you noticed all of the other symptoms, down the arm, in the armpit, anywhere around the chest area, so all of these can kind of create that kind of pain in this area that mimics that. But this can actually kind of get your heart kind of palpating incorrectly. You can get sweats. I mean, it really, and I can attest to this because I had the same problem. So I had a checkup. I had gotten a clear bill of health, but I had been under a great deal of stress. And so I had shortness of breath. I had all the problems, and I thought, okay, I think we're gonna be needing to go to the hospital. And I'm not saying, I just want to say, if you ever have these issues and you have not had a checkup, or if you have any concerns, go to your doctor, go to the emergency room, get a good clean bill of health. But what Christina did was she worked right on that trigger point, and the symptoms disappeared. I mean, what was it, 5-10 minutes? I mean, less than 10 minutes. It was 5 minutes. They just started to get less and less and less, and they went away. But I mean, I was having the sweats. My heart felt like it was rapidly beating. I had pain going down my arm, and I thought, oh, here we go, And Christina goes, well, you just had a good, clean bill of health. I mean, your heart's in great shape. So she just went in and worked on it, and everything disappeared. So again, I'm not saying bypass your doctor, and I'm certainly not saying if you have these symptoms, you want to make sure your heart is healthy. But again, it's just amazing how.
Right. So this is to explain, right? If you're having all these symptoms and your doctor, you keep on getting tests and everyone's saying, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine.
Yeah, it's all up here.
Check this. Check that point out, because it could be one of those crazy referrals.
Or how about, after you get a good clean bill of health, go to the massage therapist and say, okay, this is some of the weird stuff I'm experiencing. People think I'm losing my mind. I think I'm losing my mind. And have them work on that and loosen this muscle up, because it can cause a lot of that problems. So that's the trigger point of this muscle. And that's all the 5 distinct locations. And what was that total of? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total trigger points. I think that's got to be a record of mine, I think. So how do we do self-care? Well, I'm going to let Christina talk a little bit about that, but I will say, first of all, stretching is good. We know we can foam roll.
Yes.
So that, and Christina, you were going to talk about that, right? Or you?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's probably, but we know foam rolling, like how many people foam roll their chest?
Very few.
Not many people, and especially women. You're like, I'm not foam rolling that area. But it's something that can be done. You can foam roll this muscle very well. And that's what we cover in the Ultimate Foam Roller Blueprint, right? In the upper body program. And so the reason why we teach it is because foam rolling, the pecs is so important for your posture, for breathing. It's an important. Everything's important. But anyway, it's a muscle you need to pay attention to.
And what we found with our clients, nobody was foam rolling the upper body. Right. Nobody. And so we were like, well, we're going to change this. And so that's why we put this in the program. Right.
And then there was some stretches. You had some stretches.
Absolutely. To show. So any kind of stretch. So again, we believe foam rolling first and then stretching afterwards, because that just sort of re-educates the muscle in its full range of motion, or full length that it can move. But stretching behind your back is always good. on a corner of a room, you can actually just take your arms on each side of the wall in a corner and just lean into it, gently lean into it and stretch out the chest. You can do that in the doorway. Just put your hands on each side of the frame and just lean into the door, open door, and you will stretch out those pecs.
And then move your arms up and down, and you'll be stretching all three of those muscle groups.
Yes, all three of those runs, so fiber runs, yep.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Is that your last tip?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, so make sure that you click the link above because that will inform you. Just drop in your email and we'll send you a quick email of when we're holding our next free online class teaching you self-care skills.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
we're
make
all
sure.
about self-care.
Yes. And then if you're dealing with muscular pain, with this chronic tightness, then the Ultimate Foam Roller Blueprint is, I think it's going to help you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we have 3 different programs because we see 3 different people. There's active adults, athletic adults, and high school and collegiate athletes.
Yep.
And so what we did is we organized it by muscular group. And so there's a program for the upper body, there's a program for the lower body, and each one is divided into muscular groups. Yep. There's a ton of training in there.
Absolutely.
And so it's nice because it's leveled.
Yes.
So you'll get a solid foundation in the basic, and then it's going to help prepare you because in the advanced, you're actually creating your own personalized foam rolling self-care program that you can adapt and change just for you.
It's made to be adaptable. Yep,
yeah.
And fluid.
Yeah.
And fluid, yes.
And then if you enjoy these videos where we're talking about muscle education, then you'll totally get into all the muscle education that we have in the Ultimate Foam Roller Blueprint.
Yeah, because we don't just teach you how to foam roll. We teach you where the muscles are, what they do, and why you're working on it. So that way you know exactly where it's located in your body and why you're working in a particular area.
Yeah, so check it out. And I'll put a link so you can check out those classes too.
Absolutely.
Okay? Okay, well, great. Thanks. This is Brian and Christina from Your Healthy Steps. Bye.
Bye-bye.